All right, so this one's fresh off the truck. Here we have a 2024 Chevrolet Blazer EV in the RS trim level. I believe this color is Summit White, and then we have a jet black and red leatherette and Alcantara interior. So this one is an RS with all-wheel drive, so we have an electric motor on each axle. And then I believe this one has the 85 kilowatt hour battery. You have that, and then I think a 105 kilowatt hour battery option on the SS is supposed to be coming out. So this one's rated to get around 280 to 293 miles per charge. But there's the front end here. Those lights don't flash like that. That's just how my camera's picking the LEDs up, but just a sick looking front end there. They did a really good job on this, I think. Sorry about the glare, but LED daytime running lights, LED headlamps. Of course, there's no grill here, but not an inch of cheap looking black plastic. I love how they glossed all that out. Just a super slick look, I think. And as we come around the wheels here, they also did a great job with these. These are 21-inch Aero wheels. That's all aluminum there. Just a good look there. Let's go ahead and open this charge port here. So DC fast charge speed, you're supposed to get up to 190 kilowatts max charge speed when you're hooked up to a level 3. But there's the port there, and then the fast charge port right there. Now we'll see about these charge ports, because they have these on the Lyric as well, and just don't know how it's going to hold up over time. But at least it's not slinging it back and forth really fast, but this almost puts you to sleep how long that takes. Passive keyless entry on all 4 doors. I like that. And then I love this door panel here, just having all of this sleek looking trim here, especially going with that red black plastic down here, but looks good. And even with the stock speaker system, I love how they put the design there. And then that's for the power lift gate, bottle holder. We have an electronic parking brake. Just press that to engage it, hit the brake, press it again to disengage. Lane keep assist with lane departure, automatic brake hold, brightness for the gauge cluster. There's nothing up there, but I'm gonna pop it anyway. And then here we have our power driver seat with 2-way power lumbar support. And one thing that Chevy's done so well with since they brought the Blazer back, I think in 2019, is just making these look just slick inside and out. And just as you can see here, all this stuff just looks fantastic. This interior is just incredible. Now here's the window sticker here, and there's not a lot of info because again, I told you this just came out, but this does qualify for the full $7,500 EV tax credit. But I mean, these are pretty expensive. They started around 56 grand. This one's probably mid 60s, I think, which is extremely high, but that's all EVs these days. You get them brand new. Plenty of space back here though. I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs, and just super impressive leg space back here. Seat back pockets are on both sides. These, I'm told, light up at night, kind of like an ambient light. So that's pretty neat. And then we have 3-stage heated seats for the back, 2 USB-C charge ports. Kind of disappointed we don't have a skylight there, but don't really use it anyway, so no big deal. Center seat folds down. This might be full-on leather. I'm not sure. I can never tell. But I mean, it looks like leather, but I just assumed it was leatherette, but I'll confirm that when I can. Bottle holders are here. And then grab handles here. You can hang 1 plastic hanger, maybe 2 metal hanger hooks there. But let's go ahead and make our way towards the back. But super spacious back here too. Before I get out, I love how they did that there, so I could actually come over to the middle, and for the most part, even sit in the middle seat here. But let's go ahead and check out the back end here. Now, of course, we get the LED tail lamps. And just an interesting look. I don't know how I feel about this back end here. It looks futuristic, and it's definitely gonna stick out, but just kind of, I don't know. But again, power lift gate here. Pretty good storage behind that second row. I believe that is going to be the charge cable there. And I'm assuming we get an inflator kit around here somewhere, but I could be wrong. We'll take a look at the ground clearance. There's the look underneath the vehicle. And I like how they integrated the rear parking sensors in that back bumper there. Now as we come around to the back end, or the rear passenger seat, excuse me, you can grab this handle here, pull down, and that'll fold flat. And then you just pull it back up. Pretty easy to lock back into place. So that's pretty cool. And then we do have roof rails here, so I'm wondering, I'm assuming you can maybe put some crossbars on here, but I mean, it's a pretty thin rail, but I'm sure they'll make something for that. So that'll be helpful to have that if you do want to use that for storage. Big plus here, having that front passenger seat that has power with power lumbar. And then glove compartment here, owner's manuals there. Probably have to pull most of the stuff up online. Just crazy how expensive stuff gets, and it's like you're getting less and less of the stuff you're used to getting. Now obviously the technology is there, but just the little things like that, not having full owner's manuals and all that. But that's what's underneath the hood there, nothing much. The electric motor for the front is underneath there, but windshield wiper fluid will go in here. And then I don't know what that is. I'm assuming that was a windshield wiper fluid. But as I do another trim, I'll try and learn a little bit more about these. But again, this is the RS all-wheel drive, so almost top of the line. But getting back in the driver's seat here. So kind of like in the Teslas, hit the brake and you could just put it in the drive. And surprisingly, I don't really like that. I had a Tesla and that was kind of a thing. It was nice, but now that I have my Mach-E, I'm just used to driving something that feels like a traditional car. And I kind of miss that here, but oh well. And we do have a manual tilt telescoping steering wheel. I don't know how people are gonna feel about that for this price point, but there's the horn. Now over to the radio here. Now, I don't know if this, let me try this out actually. Okay, so the vehicle does, like the Teslas, turn itself off when you do get out of the vehicle or open the door. So that's nice. But there's a button here where you can turn the car off manually just by hitting that. And then shortcuts here for the headlamps and all of that there. So this actually makes more sense to me as opposed to like in the Colorados that have the same kind of setup here. You have to cut the vehicle off, and then to turn the lights back on, you have to turn it on. But if you do that manually, sometimes you forget to turn the lights on, whatever. But since the car turns itself on or off as you get in or out of the vehicle, it's nice to just have those lights right there. Now, for audio, we do get AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth, and screen here, which gives you Google News podcast. And then the maps are here. With a subscription, you can use the Google Maps and everything that comes with that. Having the wireless CarPlay Android Auto though, you're probably, unless you're just in love with Google Maps, that probably won't be a big thing for you. But the good thing is you can subscribe to it for a month and then cancel it if you just need it for a yearly road trip or something like that. But just going through all the top shortcut menus here. To pair a phone, pretty easy, add phone, it walks you right through it. And then we do have dual zone automatic climate controls. So you can either use the screen here or use the buttons down here below. Or I should say the shortcuts down here below. Then you also have actual buttons here as well. So that's pretty neat. And then you can adjust the climate from 3 different places. So pretty neat. And then again, you can do it for the rear as well if you want to control that. So just a lot that you can do, including the auto mode. Adjust if you want that on low, medium, or high to adjust your temperature. And then vehicle status is here, so give it a minute to load. Within here, you can check your tire pressure, energy info, trip monitors, all of that you can pull up there. And then in your settings here, vehicle settings, you have buckle to drive, teen driver. You can customize your drive modes. Everything else in here you probably won't need. Now, if you are used to a different culture, let me put it that way, you can change your language here, you can change your units here. So tons of stuff in here. You could probably use your owner's manual to go through all of that, but I just wanted to go through all the important stuff that people ask me about. Here we have the EV stuff, so we can go ahead and adjust the charge rate, or what we want to charge our battery up to. We can schedule when we want to. Let's say we go to work at 8 o'clock every morning. We want to have the vehicle at a certain temperature. When we get in, we can adjust that. And then drive modes are here. We can turn our one pedal on or off here. It's hard to do this with the camera. Okay. And then we have normal, sport, snow and ice in that My mode that we can adjust. And then I like that you have the little info button here, and it shows you kind of what's going on within each drive mode. And then controls are here. So for the heads up display, you can adjust that. Dome lights, auto high beams, park assist, and then universal remotes right there. Backup cameras there, guidelines follow you. We have that 360 view as well. Front cameras there, and then side view is right there. Storage back in here, and then 2 USB-C ports, which is cool. And that's a pretty deep pocket. And then we also have bottle holders here, a wireless charging pad here, and then more storage. So I like how they kind of maximize the storage in this vehicle. There's a 12-volt and another USB-C. Here's a view of the back seat from up here. Hazards are there if you ever need them. Rear camera mirror. And then to the steering wheel, again, windshield wiper controls are here. So click it a little bit, front wiper comes, push it all the way, front wiper fluid. You can adjust these intermittent wipers here, then you have low and high. And then within the intermittent button, it'll show you when your rain sense is on or off. And then you also have your rear wipers here, intermittent on, and then pulling there or pulling there gives you that rear wiper fluid. High beam toggle, flash, and then for the shifter, pull, down drive, up reverse, middle neutral, P for park. And then if you are ever not in one pedal drive mode, you can toggle your, what is that? The regenerative braking there. Now behind the steering wheel on the left side, you can go through your track list radio station presets. Behind on the right side, you can toggle that volume. And then cruise controls here, we do have adaptive. We can adjust the gap for that. Speed, cancel, voice recognition. And then we also have our audio sources we can toggle through there. So once you pull that up, you just scroll through there and go through what you want to go through. And then Bluetooth controls are here, heated steering wheel toggle, and then this goes through your gauge cluster. So you have different views that you can set there by clicking that. So pretty cool graphics, I think. I guess it was at 4 or 5 different menus there, maybe 6. And then heads up display. It doesn't flash like that. Again, that's how the camera's picking it up. But again, drive buttons are here, or if you want to turn the vehicle on or off there. And then here you can actually mute or hold it to power the system down, which is pretty cool where they put that button. And the keys are in my back pocket. And you have remote start as well, which is a nice touch, I think. But now to the fun part. Let's go ahead and take this 2024 Chevrolet Blazer EV RS all-wheel drive out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Blazer EV, very, very impressed by the acceleration, as I should be. Again, for this to be around the mid-60s in terms of price range, having the all-wheel drive, 2 electric motors, very quick. And I haven't even put my foot in her yet. But of course, that all-wheel drive system is gonna help with traction. I'm gonna floor it here, see what it does. Now it doesn't give me what I think the SS system wheel, just that powertrain, but it is quick. But the Lyric all-wheel drive actually felt a bit faster to me. I'm gonna floor it again. That's better. So I have the adaptive cruise on now. It's just crazy how this gets up to speed so quickly. Now, the ride quality is actually very nice. Now, this interstate is somewhat smooth, and it still has that kind of bouncy, kind of what the Teslas got known for, just having that lower center of gravity. And then having this heavy battery. It's not the smoothest suspension, but it is still an impressive driving vehicle. And the sound, it's okay. It's not the best. The propulsion sound could be better, but it's whatever. But what I will say is I wouldn't mind taking this on a road trip. It's one of the better, it might even be one of the best riding EVs I've been in. Of course, it doesn't ride like the Benz EQS or like the Lyric. The Lyric is number 1 or number 2 in terms of just the ride quality in an EV. But this is probably top 5 for me. But you got to give it to the Blazer EV. This is definitely one of the best looking ones out there in terms of EVs, I think. I think it looks better than this Model Y next to me. Now again, for this money, I think it is a tad bit expensive just for how much this costs, and it's not the top of the line SS. So you're not getting the best acceleration. You're getting good acceleration, but your range on this one is still EPA estimated under 300 miles, I think. I don't know. Now, I don't have a set, again, this just got off the truck. It hasn't been priced or anything, so I don't have a set MSRP yet, but I will try to include that in the description below once I get it. Again, I just don't know for even the starting price at 57. I think that's for a 2LT or something. It's high, but it's a General Motors vehicle. That's kind of what you expect. These days, that's how they're able to stay profitable as a company. Yeah, I don't know. Now, it is a Blazer, and I think even the gas-powered Blazers always have kind of been in that market where it's 50 to 55 grand for a naturally aspirated V6 that may or may not have adaptive cruise, cooled seats, all of that, but they just look so slick, and they draw attention that sometimes I think people are paying for that. Just having that overall package. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the car at all. It's quick, it's fun to drive, has tons of features. Again, the exterior looks great, the interior is beautiful, just a bit pricey. Now compare this to a Mach-E. Maybe, I don't even think the Mach-E has as much space. It definitely doesn't feel as roomy as this. Your main competitor is probably going to be a Model Y, and again, I don't even know. I think that might feel bigger because it's all glass inside, but this, to me, just in terms of the size of the seats, are wide enough for my wider stature, tons of headroom, not having a roof there, and I just have tons of space to move about. So we'll see how it does, especially for the end of the year. Maybe there'll be discounts on these and it'll all of a sudden be more reasonable. Again, we'll just have to wait and see, but still a pretty impressive vehicle. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2024 Chevrolet Blazer EV RS all-wheel drive.